What's going on, guys? Today I'm going to be installing some fog lights that I got from a good friend Ryan on the 1991 Sambar. So here we go. All right, so first of all, we've got our fog lights here. These are halogen, but they are very, very similar to the OEM fog lights, which go in these recesses here that we will cut out. But Ryan took these, did some sealing inside, did have to print these surrounds. They are printed in carbon fiber, I believe. Came out really good. Like, they look almost OE. I'll probably paint the screws black. We also have a wiring harness here. He threw in some now and laters and some adhesive things to keep like the relay in place. Tools that I know I'm gonna need a Phillips for on there. We're gonna go through and we're gonna try one time with my multi-surface rotary, and then I also have an oscillating blade that he suggested, and then an X-Acto, which I found on my test bumper was really good for getting here into the corners. That is gross, whatever that is. That's gross. Okay, anyway, we'll clean that up later. So I'm going to mount the camera on the tripod and we're gonna start cutting. And hopefully you're not hearing that too much because I am wearing the microphone. Enough talk. Let's get into this. All right, first cut is in there. It's always the hardest one to do when it's your vehicle, but as you can see, I am all the way in. Take plenty of breaks so your blades don't get too hot, and you shouldn't have any problems with stuff melting. As you can see, it's a nice clean cut right there. So I'm using this to make sure I stay where I need to be, and we're gonna continue on. All right, so now I've got the oscillating tool. Not really experienced with these, so we're just gonna see what happens as I play around. All right, so that kind of cuts like butter, which is nice. So there it is, first piece is out. We'll clean up these edges a little bit, but they're not too bad, and they're gonna get covered up anyway. But as you can see, there are mounting tabs already here. We have C-clips here on the back that will attach, and then this will press in. I just have to even this out just a little bit. Remember, as you're doing this, sizing this out, work in small amounts. You can always take off more material. You can't really put it back. All right, so I've taken the fog light and out of the housing, and I just want to test fit to see how it goes in the bumper. So we've got it pressed in. It's nice and firm, nice and snug. That looks perfect. All right, since we know this fits nice, I'm gonna go ahead and pull it out. Go ahead and get my light back in. And then we have our pieces here that Ryan designed to hold the light in place. Next, I'm going to put the little metal C-clamp in here over, if I don't drop it, over these holes. There's one. There's two. Get our screws through. And right now, because I don't have any of the wiring in, all I want to do just kind of get it started so it's sitting here out of the way. All right, now that I can't pull it off, I know that I'm in here, and if I'm lucky enough that I can go behind and grab the harness, I will. But first off, we're gonna go over to this side, we're gonna cut this out, and then we will get into our harness. All right, let's take a look at exactly what comes in the harness. We've got 4 of these 3M connectors, you could call it. He's also supplied a few zip ties, and the way these will work, you will attach these somewhere, and then you'll zip tie your harness to keep it up out of the way. Nice thought from him. Looks like he gave me 5 zip ties. And then we actually have the harness. So I will cut off the zip tie that's holding it together. In the harness, this will include both sides to connect to the fog lights, of course. An interior light that will light up red when, or at least this one's red. It'll light up when my fog lights are on because I have a bad tendency to leave the lights on. We have a relay, and then we have a power and ground. Now the way this is gonna work, we're gonna go from the battery. So we'll go power and ground on the battery. We will hide the relay somewhere. Ugh. This one right here will go up through the passenger side, up into the cab behind the dash. And what's left will come up here behind the front bumper and plug into the halogen lights. So let's get this started. I'm gonna start off by going to the battery, I believe, and just kind of laying this out in the path of travel. I almost forgot the most important thing. Now and laters. Thanks, Ryan. I've not had a now and later in years. Just as good as I remember. Now, one quick comment while I'm here. Ryan did take this part of it. We have the switch and we have a disconnect here. So I'm gonna go ahead and disconnect that. This is what I'm gonna have to feed into the cab. So I'm gonna go ahead and throw this in the cab. And yeah, we'll just watch this with some background music. Cue the band. All right, so we're in the under the truck. We're facing the back of the truck. We're running the lines up along the passenger side of the truck on top of the strut. The wire that's going to go inside the cab, there is a drain or an access point right here underneath the footwell for the passenger. There's a little plug. We can just push that up out of the way. That'll give us access inside the truck for the switch. And then I just went ahead over this radiator hose. Oh, this is so hard without the truck up on a lift. Here is the front cross member or brace. There you can see one of the plugs. Hopefully, the camera is like 2 inches off of my nose, so this is so hard. There's the plug for the passenger side. And then up in there will be the plug for the driver's side. And I'm ready to get out from under the truck. Good now and later. So here is our cable that we ran in. This will go over and up. Next thing I'm going to do now that this is inside is go ahead and connect the battery terminal so that I can start pulling slack. All right, head to the front. All right, so now that we're back at the front, I'm going to take these out. I'm going to grab a harness that I fished in here. Hook those together. All right, now let's go ahead and zip tie some of these things in place. So tight in here. That's what she said. Oh, I just got like 1993 rust in my eyes. Looks like the pipe's too big. That's what she said. Well, there's only one hole. That's what she said. All right, so we've got our wire coming straight through. We've got our plug. What I did, if you can see that, I cut out a small bit of the bottom part just to make it easier to fish this through and actually get the seal back in. Now that that's up and out of the way, I'll bring my carpet back down. And here's my piece that I will now plug in to the rest once I finish this through. I tell you what, I forgot how good now and laters are. All right, so the idea is for this to sit right here. However, my 4-wheel drive button was relocated from here when I had my Billet Works shift knob done. And I've now got a switch here that says ejecto cedo cuz. But for now, that's kind of hidden. I'm hoping to get that remade over here where people will see it when they're looking in. What I'm gonna do is take my switch, mount it up here, and it's just gonna be a Jellyfish Launcher instead of a fog light. All right, you can carefully reach through and press out the buttons. I actually wanna go to the top one. The bottom one came out easier. If you like the meme, use 2 fingers and then the thumb on top for maximum pleasure. All right, so that's out. I'll now fish this through. That's hanging down here at the bottom. Press the Jellyfish Launcher into position. Hopefully it will fit. It will. All right. And I'll put one of my blanks back in. Put that in our parts bin later. And now we will wire that over to the other side. So picking the best routing, I need to come somewhere back here. And down here is where I've got my plug. So I want to connect it somewhere back here and route it up. This would have been so much easier back when I was doing the HVAC, resistor, blower motor, all that good stuff. All right, so let's see how this goes. There are the fog lights. Nice. All right. Parking, headlights, high beams, and fog lights. So there you go. We got the fog lights installed. Not a hard install. It did take a couple tools. We needed a Phillips screwdriver. We ended up using a multi-surface tool to cut out some of it. But honestly, the oscillating tool was just fine. I ended up using that mostly on that side. Right now at Harbor Freight, you can grab one of those for $15 if you're an inside track member. And then the blade, I want to say it's carbide blade, was probably another $15. So we're $30 in the oscillator tool. Phillips head, hopefully you got one of those. And the razor blade, I just use that to kind of clean up the edges. Harness came with the lights, ran that. It was really simple to run through. We plugged it into the battery, routed it up to the front, got it plugged in, routed it inside the cab to the Jellyfish Launcher button that I've got mounted on the gauge, on the instrument cluster area. And yeah, I'm not sure what Ryan's gonna be selling these for when you watch this video, but if you wanna add the OEM look fog lights to your Sambar, these are it. The OEM fog lights are very expensive if you can find them. These are fresh out of the box, brand new bulbs, serviceable, carbon fiber surrounds. The harness was super easy to install, and I'd say overall, pretty easy install. So let me know what you think about them in the comments. If you're planning on getting them for your Sambar, and guys, help me out. I need money. Like, comment, subscribe, all the things, and ride safe. Can't wait for some fog. It's gonna be awesome.